Super afternoon, everybody. My name's Justin Brown, and I'm representing a business unit by the name of JOAT. As JOAT, we are expert water practitioners. We've successfully managed to combine the civil engineering aspect of water with the supply and support from expert product managers in a very unique way, which has culminated in us being able to provide a service as well as a product across a client's water requirement. The first thing I've done is basically just put a very quick slide up there. As I say, we fit under industrial technologies within EOH, the water vertical specifically, and that's where things get quite interesting. We've seen glimpses of water in the previous presentations. However, we can now focus on water as a next generation component specifically with regards to IoT. So without further ado, let's quickly have a look at some of the projects that we've undertaken. We've broken down our offerings into two very simple segments: municipalities or utilities, and then secondly, our commercial and industrial clients, in other words, our private customers. Now, what we've identified very simply is that from a utility or a municipality perspective, data gather is absolutely crucial. Very simply put, to measure is to know. Therefore, whatever it is that a utility is doing in a network, they need to quantify and obviously need to be able to provide that information in a variety of different ways. Could be simply to make a billing decision or to issue out a bill, or very well to exercise management. I think it's a very good time to mention that I'm from Cape Town. I think there were a few Cape Townians around. We all know the challenges with regards to water availability and how important water management is becoming. Anybody who's traveled down to Cape Town recently, you'll see the billboards quoting water rationing, the percentage of water that's available in dams, and we really, I think, are at the front line, along with some of the KZN municipalities in this particular drought situation we face. Thus, having said, thanks to aging infrastructure, and possibly something we could have avoided when we to have implemented a strategy of ours, I think you've had a little bit of a taste of what it could be like in Cape Town, unfortunately, in the middle of next year. Let's hope it rains a lot and that doesn't happen. But back to why we are. So effectively, what we do is, for a municipality, we will either provide the service to identify critical components. Now, with critical components, I specifically refer to pressure management interventions. Now, without getting too technical or going into the strategy, I've got a small little graphic that I think may illustrate what I'm talking about. Metering. On a product level, we obviously supply a range of meters that cater for a variety of different application, and also the data gather infrastructure from those particular meters in a variety of different manners. Within the municipal infrastructure, we have quite a unique scenario where job creation obviously is very important. So a fully automated IoT scenario is not always the ideal way to go. And therein comes something like walk-by, drive-by radio frequency automated meter reading, which we're able to provide. Third-party integration is becoming more and more important. This is definitely an aspect where there's synergy with a lot of the people that have presented previously, and some capability where we can cross-pollinate and deliver that solution or solve that particular dilemma that our customer has encountered. And then a turnkey solution. As JOAT, we are able to specify, supply, deliver, install, configure, manage, simply put, build, operate, maintain. Commercial as well. We've had a lot of success with our municipal model that we've rolled out to property management companies, specifically companies that are targeting the same sort of challenges that utilities have. We need reliable data at set times to make decisions. And again, it's a very, very similar offering that we've provided to these particular companies. So, products. I think the most important thing is to have a very quick look as to what we do. I think we've highlighted a couple of ideas already. On a GSM perspective, not only are we looking towards GSM, we are looking towards the next generation in water, which many people are referring to as NB-IoT, or in fact the IoT protocols that we talk about today. LoRa and Sigfox are a reality wherever we have coverage, and depending on our customers' perception of the technology, we are most certainly approaching those specific scenarios, and we have those technologies available that we can deploy and employ. Fixed radio proprietary RF. We deal in the ISM band with regards to our fixed radio solutions, whether it be, again, your Sigfox or your LoRa, your NB-IoT, or deep delve into specific proprietary protocols. It's all license-free spectrum usage at this particular stage. Measurement products. We are the company that you turn to when you want to source a specific type of measurement device for a specific application, be it on a mine, be it for a farmer in agriculture, be it for a utility, be it simply to measure a tenant in a flatlet that you're leasing out. We're able to make sense of that. Now, quite important, valves. Gone are the days of a piece of cast iron being called a valve. With valves specifically, I wish to highlight our capability to fit intelligence onto products and actually control the environment within a reticulation network. Now, in the next couple of slides, we'll see where that provides a very interesting business opportunity and obviously opens up the doors for the other three. Platform as a service. Every single company that stood up here has mentioned something or other about a platform. We're so spoiled within EOH that we have these wonderful capabilities, and I think we have so many, and it's so diverse that it's quite difficult to make a decision who you're going to partner with. It's almost you want to spin the little wheel and see which name comes up. These sort of forums are obviously where we can delve deep and we can make sense or start to make sense of all those companies. I don't know if it's just a JOAT thing. I'm sure we all experience this wonderful starstruck situation when we consider all that EOH in fact is. Software as a service, again, hand in hand with platform as a service. It might just be a slightly different way that we position it. And very interestingly, infrastructure as a service. This is where we look at the PPP type model that we are tackling in the water industry aggressively at the moment and engaging with specifically municipalities. Core component of a smart city? Absolutely. Now, when we talk about IoT, oh my goodness, I think, again, it is a bit of a swear word. It's a wonderful technology, it's a wonderful acronym that we can pop out there, but how do we define IoT? And this is something very interesting. This is more a question that I wish to sort of throw out into the forum. I have done a quick look around and I've simply put a couple of blocks up there, but how do we actually address and define a IoT solution? As EOH, this would be a very interesting topic to brainstorm and have a recipe where we can classify where the different companies fall in, so that it simplifies the spinning of that wheel and makes it a little bit easier to pinpoint and literally put the tail on the donkey. Okay, in the water vertical, where are we focused? We focus on the entire water cycle. Now, basically, simply put, that is from source to consumer. Via JOAT or other business units within EOH, we supply solutions into all aspects that you see there. Dams and groundwater, your purification plants, pump stations, reservoirs, and obviously the distribution network from your bulk meters, obviously to your sub meters and actually your consumer meters themselves. Within all aspects of these, we can supply technologies that can be remotely read. One of the cornerstones that we're trying to address is our flexibility in terms of data. In other words, the open API type of idea. There's been a transition from a lot of the manufacturers. The proprietary that used to be proprietary is tending towards open. Well, as open as an open protocol can in fact be described. And therein lies the API and the challenge that Henk mentioned as well in terms of security. Okay, so at a municipal level, if we look at a very practical example, now we've seen that there are multiple facets that a water utility would have to focus on and would have to deal with. Wherever we are in that particular chain, there's three core components that are very important to our client if they are a utility, and specifically network data in a variety of different forms. This could be status. Is the pump on? Is it off? Is the pump consuming too much power? Yes or no? It could simply be a meter read from a reservoir. A variety of different options exist there. But network data coming to and from the processes that we've seen in the water cycle are very important to our customers in many different ways and in many different levels. Control. I've illustrated here pump station control and PRV, which is basically pressure control. Now, where this becomes very interesting is one of the cornerstones in a strategy to decrease your consumption, as we see in Cape Town, is to manage your pressure. Today, as EOH, we are able to do that remotely, and we are able to control that particular function remotely, which is very important when we look towards our vision for a smart network. Now again, if we move one down and we look at consumer level, this is where we can really make a difference to a consumer. We understand that water scarcity is a real thing. We are likely going to sit in a situation of prevalent drought and decreased water availability in the southern hemisphere. It's common knowledge. So it's becoming more and more important when we expect water tariffs to start increasing and increasing exponentially, as we've recently seen with electricity, to prepare adequately for that and add value to consumers. We're seeing a lot of interest in Cape Town specifically now and along the Garden Route for focuses in terms of consumption and quantifying consumption in different ways and means. So, effectively, we have a smart utility water meter that can either be a mechanical meter that can be smart enabled, or can be a device that's embedded with IoT technologies, or a device that's embedded with a radio transmitter, or a device that's simply linked to some sort of a GSM outlet. But that particular device can be used to send and in sometimes receive instruction. Provision and control, becoming more and more important in terms of water. We've been doing it in electricity for a very long time, prepaid solutions. In terms of water, I think we've highlighted on the burst geyser type situation. It's becoming more and more important, and particularly with the tariff increases, that if something goes wrong, you hear about it now and you're able to actually intervene and firstly conserve the resource, secondly conserve the impact on your pocket, and on a bigger scale for the utility, again in the same method. Location, people, vehicles, we also have a need for that in water, because there's a very interesting direction that we're looking to go in terms of water from the water vertical. Mobile data, here again, we have a situation where being able to incentivize a consumer as a utility and being able to receive an incentive as a consumer for low consumptions. Throughout the city of Cape Town now, they're talking about using so much water per person per day, and quantifying that even on your municipal account. It becomes very easy to all of a sudden illustrate those sort of things were you to have a smart consumer situation. Obviously the value adds go into the home as well, but from a water perspective, we believe that those key features are paramount. So let's have a look at this particular situation in action. We don't have enough space on a PowerPoint slide, unfortunately, to do the whole chain or time. So what we'll do, we have a reservoir, we are supplying a zonal meter, and effectively to create an autonomous water network that effectively manages itself, creating the opportunity for infrastructure as a service. The reason I say this is because, very simply put, as you leave your home in the morning, your wife, yourself, your children, your network becomes aware that you've left. Information is relayed to the cloud. The cloud can then make certain decisions. Networks autonomously control pressure or pumps or reservoir level. In other words, sensing that the people pattern has changed. There's no longer such a big demand in this particular area, and that is then managed on the fly. And the result of this is effectively a network that controls itself, a network that quantifies itself, and very importantly, when we can start controlling the amount of volume we put into infrastructure from a water perspective, we can then start to do and calculate the business cases for infrastructure as a service from a EOH perspective, as well as software as a service, as well as platform as a service, and the Internet of Things. Thank you.